I'm going to take that one.
Yeah, I was going to give you a fist bump.
No.
There it is.
Not cool enough to know what a fist bump is. I guess I'm on. I was going to ask you if I was on, and I thought that's really sad when you have to ask if you're turned on, but I feel comfortable with you, so that's okay. Thank you so much. How many of you have been here with us before? Look at that. And so how many haven't been with us before? I just thought I'd make you all put your hands up. So welcome. This is such a wonderful time. I mean, look at what you've gotten so far. You've gotten, a hero, a national winning, champion coach, a woman who does amazing things with sled dogs, and now me. I'm fat and sassy, and I'm ready to have some fun with you. I want to thank you for welcoming me. Being from Nebraska, some of you that know me know that sometimes when you tell people in Iowa that you're from Nebraska, you're not really welcome. And one time I was speaking in Ames and I got booed on my way up when they found out I was from Lincoln. And I said, "Are you booing me because I'm a Husker?" And they said, "Well, yeah." And I said, I never actually played for the team. But thanks for looking at me and thinking that I might have. That's such a compliment, because those are some big boys. Anyway, for those of you that have been here several times, you know that I have emceed this program many times, so it's a little different for me to be up and be a speaker. But as a speaker, what I talk about is communication and humor. Those are my two passions. And I want you to know that you learned your original communication patterns by the time you were 3 years old. Did you know that? By the time you're 3, remember how you swore you'd never sound like your mother? Yeah, and then one day you heard her come out of your mouth? Yeah, that's because she's in there, right? And then you learned about nonverbal long before that, tone of voice and nonverbal long before 3. So how many people here have children? Okay. Those of you that don't have children, have you seen a child? Do you know what one looks like? I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Yeah, you've seen one? Those of you that have raised children, are in the process of raising children, do you remember when your baby first started to crawl? How cool was that, right? Expanding his horizons. Scooting across the floor, yeah. Scooting right toward his electrical socket. And because you are a mature person and you want to be a good role model for your child, how do you talk to that child? You say, "Honey, sweetie, don't go near the electrical socket," right? And that works. Excuse me. "Honey, mom's talking to you. Hey. Excuse me. Look, mister, I am trying to keep you safe. You need to listen. Get the hell away from the electrical socket!" So what has that little toddler just learned? At this level, action is taken. And that is an effect that we learn in our entire lives. We carry it through our lives. We never talk about it. But when people are at that level, that's an instinctual thing. So that's why it's so important for us to understand where our communication comes from. This is not personal. One time I was leaving Lincoln to go do a presentation, and I was driving through a drive-through, I'm not going to tell you which one, Burger King, to get a Diet Coke. And when I pulled up to the sign, I waited for them to say, "Can I help you? Can I take your order, something?" But the sign didn't talk to me. So after a couple of minutes, I yelled at the sign, I go, "Hello?" Still it didn't talk to me. But see, I see him working in there, and I'm not going to take this personally. So I think, well, it must be broken, and I drive around to the window. Well, when I get to the window, that woman is crabby. She's angry, actually. You know how those windows automatically slide open? She pushed it open. She's screaming at me as I come up. She goes, "You did not drive through the drive-through correctly, and you didn't trigger the bell. And then you talked to the microphone, and we came back to talk to you, but we couldn't talk to you because you had driven up here." I mean, I had no idea there was that kind of stress at Burger King. And I don't know this woman, so I listened to the words she said, and I said back to her, "You know what? I didn't get the drive-through pamphlet." I said, "If you give me the pamphlet, I swear to you, next time I drive through, I will drive through correctly." And she looked at me like I was the weirdest thing she'd ever seen. I said, "Have you had a bad day with the drive-through bell thingy?" And she said she had. People had been yelling at her all day. And I said, "I am not going to yell at you. I would just like a Diet Coke." And she said, "Okay." But I was the first person that had been nice to her that day. So she felt the need to tell me about the rude people that had been through earlier. So after about 5 minutes, I said, "Could you get the Diet Coke while we're talking?" And she said, "You're such a nice person, I'm going to give you this Diet Coke." And I said, well, you're such a nice person. I'm going to give you this therapy. So see, it was a good barter. It all worked out. But see, when we can use humor to detach from those communication challenges that we reach and we run into every day, because so many of them are instinctual, that can make all the difference in the world. And life moves, and we either move with it or against it. We make that choice every day, and that's the kind of stuff that I talk about. In fact, how many of you have gone to get your driver's license lately? Anybody? Yeah. So, you know, all the states now are required to have the same photography system. I went a couple years ago, and I didn't have to go in. I could have sent for it, but I wanted a new picture. I had new hair. You ladies know what that means. Yeah, I had new hair. So I wanted to go get my picture taken. So I went into the DMV, and the gentleman took my picture, and he said, I'm sorry, your face has been rejected. I said to him, do you have to use that term? And he turned the screen around and showed me it said rejected across my face. I said, you know, what does that mean? I've had this face for like 30, 50, 60 years, something like that. I said, so what am I supposed to do now? And he said, well, we have this program, all the states have to have it. We're tied in with Homeland Security, and you know, if NCIS is looking for you, or CSI, you pop right up on their screen, it's everywhere. And I said, well, that's great. He goes, sometimes it happens, we'll just take it again. So he took my picture again, and my face was rejected again. And I said to him, are you telling me the entire state of Nebraska is rejecting my face right now? And he said, no, really the whole country. So he said, no, it's fine, we'll figure it out, we'll try it again. He said, they need to triangulate, it'll work out and all that. So he took it again, and so my face was rejected again, and I found out that after 3 bad pictures, they switch cameras. Yeah, and then I found out after 5 bad pictures, they switch clerks. You're probably wondering how I know that policy. Well, my face was not accepted by the country until the 15th picture. And the truth of the matter is that it was the 14th pictures, but I was laughing so hard they had to have me close my mouth for the 15th. What happened was my face is too short for the triangulation thing that goes on with the camera on my skull or whatever because of my bangs. So I literally had to lift my bangs off my forehead in order to be accepted by the country. So I did that. I got my little temporary, photo ID afterwards because they sent it to you in the mail. And I looked at that and I said, sir, I know this is so if CSI is looking for me. But I said, I don't look like this picture. I've never not had bangs, and I don't look like this. And he said, it's fine, they'll triangulate. I said, okay. A week later, I'm flying out of Omaha with my new ID. I hand it to the TSA agent, she takes it, she looks at it, and she looks at me. I finally had to say, it's me. She goes, oh my gosh, it is you. So what I'm saying is, this is a little issue in life, right? You have a choice on how to respond to it, and that's the kind of things we work on. I mean, you can get upset about it, or you can just go with it. And this is what I'm telling you, I am a team player. If I have to lift my bangs for 5 years so that you can be safe, I'm on that. I can do that, right? So that's what I'm doing now, is lifting my bangs to go along with my picture. And I think that's what we have to recognize. So sometimes we have to adapt. And I got to tell you the best part of that story. When I was done, again, I don't know how the DMVs are in your neck of the woods, but sometimes they're a little crabby in Lincoln. And this one was getting crabbier by the minute because I had both cameras and all 3 clerks that were working there trying to get me accepted. So when I got through finally, though, it broke loose and people were moving through pretty quickly. But the woman that was standing behind me was an older woman. She had white hair, short white hair, was dressed in white. She was so ready for her picture. And so I'm writing my check. And for those of you that don't know, we used to write checks when we paid for things. And she comes up behind me, and as I'm writing, she comes up and she goes, like that to me. And I go, yes. And she goes, one time. Isn't that awesome? So you know what? Maybe you have a hit one day because you have to help somebody else have a better day. But that's the thing. Do you guys take things personally? We've got to learn to detach with humor and enjoy life and recognize the humor of it. So do you think you already do that? Oh, let me ask you this question. Have you ever noticed when you're running late that you hit every stoplight? Yeah. And how do you respond to that? Okay, I think I've made my point, right? You respond to that by yelling at the stoplight. or the slow car or the train or whatever is in front of you, right? We take it personally. We act like they're doing it to us on person. Guess what? I'm going to tell you, that stoplight's on a timer. But you're yelling at it like there's a man up there going, looks like they're late. Right? So the thing is that that's the kind of way that we have to realize how we respond to life, because that affects all of our communication that we do, right? One of my favorite things that happened in Lincoln is when the light is turning red, it's gone to yellow, and there are two cars coming up to it, and the first car doesn't care because they're in a good mood, but the second car is in a bad mood, so they want to make the light. And they're screaming at the first car, going, go! Veins are popping in their neck, right? And the first person doesn't even know they exist. They're singing to the radio. If you change your mind, I'm the first in line. Honey, I'm still free. Thank you. I knew there'd be some ABBA people out there today. So here's the thing. So that person is so mad. That's what we do in life. We get so angry and upset over things that we have no control over. And what we need to do is recognize that we do have control over our response to those things. And that's where a great sense of humor can help us. So I hope that you guys now know what I do as a speaker. Most of you know me as an MC, and I'll be MCing after the show. And I'm going to give prizes away more than Paul. So unless he gives them all away before I get up here. So then I'm
challenge. Gauntlet
I'm going to
thrown.
dig in my purse then. I'll find something. Listen, thank you so much for letting me be part of your day.
Julie Burney, everybody.